Stop right there. I know you've been searching the internet for the perfect accessory to brighten up your spring wardrobe, and I promise you found it. It's my Bow So Sweet Tote, and I want to show you how to make it in this tutorial. To create the Bow So Sweet Tote, you're going to need approximately 250 yards of worsted weight yarn. You're going to want this in several colors. You're going to need a main color, a contrast color, color for your strawberry, and a color to embroider on your strawberry stems and seeds. You'll need a 5mm hook or size needed to obtain gauge, tapestry needle, measuring tape, scissors. In the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a strawberry square. I'm going to show you how to make a plain square. I will show you how to embroider the strawberries, make the bows, make the straps, and assemble everything together. It will be 4 strawberry squares and 4 bow squares. You could do 1 strawberry square, 3 bow square. It's totally up to you. You could do all strawberry squares, you could do all bow squares, but for the sake of the tutorial, we'll be making it like this. We are going to begin by making a solid square, and we are going to start here because we will measure this to see if our gauge is on. So to start, we are going to use a magic circle, and then you'll chain 2, and then create 2 double crochet. So 1, 2. Next, we're going to chain 1, and that's our repeat. Double crochet 2, chain 1. We're going to do that 3 more times for a total of 4 times around. So double crochet 2, chain 1, 1, 2, chain 1. That's twice we've done it. Again, double crochet 2, chain 1. That's our third repeat. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit so I have a little more control. All right, and our last time, double crochet 2, chain 1. And now we've done all those repeats, so we're going to go ahead and pull that magic circle closed tightly, and then we will end the round by joining with a slip stitch to the first double crochet. We'll join that with a slip stitch, and that's the end of round 1. You should have 12 stitches, and throughout this pattern, these chain 1s will be your corners, and they also count as stitches. So you should have 12, so that would be 1, 2, count the double crochet, 3, count the chain, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we'll start round 2. So round 2 will be chain 2, and then we are going to do a repeat of double crochet 2, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the corner, and we're going to make that repeat 4 times. So we'll double crochet 2, double crochet the first stitch, double crochet the next stitch, and then we should be at that corner chain here, and we will put 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and that's the repeat. So we will continue to do that. So again, double crochet 2, double crochet in that next one, 2, and then you should be at a chain 1 again, and we will do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Also, sometimes just to be aware of it so you don't miss it, when you're filling this corner with so many stitches, it can start to cover up your next stitch you're supposed to be going into. So just make sure you're paying attention when you do those double crochets. So we want to double crochet into this one, which is being a little bit covered up by all those corner stitches that we're filling in. And then the next one, and then we're at a corner again. And we'll finish off our third repeat with 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in that corner. And then again, double crochet, 2, and we should be at our last corner stitch right there. And we're going to place 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet all in that corner chain. And that's the end of our repeat, and you should have 28 stitches. And we're going to go ahead and join with slip stitch to that first double crochet we made to finish off the round. Now, if you find you're having a hard time keeping track of those corners as we move throughout this square, you can put stitch markers in those chain 1 spaces to help you keep track of them. And now we'll move on to round 3. Round 3, we'll start with a chain 2. We will double crochet 4. And that should bring you to the chain 1. And now we're going to start a repeat. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet 6 is the repeat. And we're going to make that repeat 3 times. Okay, and once you've made that repeat around, you should be at your last corner chain. So we will place 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in that corner and make our last corner, our 4th corner. And then you will double crochet 2, and then you're going to join the first stitch with a slip stitch, and that is the end of round 3. And you should have 44 stitches. Remember, those chains in the corners count towards your stitch count. And now round 4. So we'll start with a chain 2. We'll double crochet 6 across to the first corner. And once we've made it to that first corner, we can begin our repeat. Our repeat for this round is going to be 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in our corner, just like always, and then double crochet 10 across to the next corner. And we will make that repeat 3 times. And once you've made that repeat 3 times, you should be at the last corner of your square. So we are just going to place 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in that last corner. And then we will do 4 double crochet to bring us all the way around. And then you can join with a slip stitch to your first double crochet to finish off round 4. And at the end of round 4, you should have 60 stitches. And now we can do round 5, our last round. To start round 5, we'll chain 2. We're then going to double crochet 8 to get us over to that first corner. And once you're at that first corner, we can begin the repeats for this round. It's going to be just like the other rounds. We will place 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in our corner chain. You will then work 14 double crochet across the next corner, and we're going to make that repeat 3 times. And once you've made that repeat and you're at your last corner, we're going to go ahead and put 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then we will work 6 double crochet across to where we started. And we will again finish off the round by joining with a slip stitch to the first double crochet. At the end of round 5, you should have 76 stitches. Again, count those corner chains as stitches. And that is our solid square. Now we can measure it to check our gauge. You want to check the gauge of your square before you block. I did it this way just so you didn't have to block your gauge swatch, but your square should be about 5 inches by 5 inches. If it is smaller than that, you will want to go up a hook size and go again. If it's much larger than that, you'll want to go down a hook size and try again. So once you have decided on your hook size and you're ready to continue on, you can fasten off with this square, and then you're going to want to make 3 more solid squares so that you have a total of 4. You can go back to the beginning of the instructions for this square at this timestamp here if you need to be walked through it again, or if you think you've got it down, just go ahead and make 3 more. And then next we will learn how to make the strawberry square. To create the strawberry square, you're going to need your strawberry color yarn and your main color yarn right now. We create the square without any of the embroidery first, then we block, then we add embroidery. So for now, you only need the strawberry main color and the main color for the bag. We won't need the embroidery colors just yet in the process. We will start with our strawberry color. We're still using our 5mm hook. It's the only hook size we use for the entire bag. To start our strawberry square, we're going to use a magic circle. And then we can start our round into the magic circle by chaining 2. We are going to place 10 double crochet into the magic circle. So being sure to work around both the tail and the working yarn loop here. So 10 double crochet into your magic circle. Once you have 10, go ahead and pull your magic circle closed tightly so that you close up that center, and then join to the first double crochet with a slip stitch to finish off round 1. So to begin round 2, we are going to chain 2. We're going to place a double crochet in that first stitch. We're then going to put 5 double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to start making the shape of our strawberry now. So there's going to be lots of different stitches working around this circle. So 5, all of them in the next stitch. Right? Then we will do a half double crochet in the next. Next, we'll put 2 half double crochet in the next one. Next, we will half double crochet in the same stitch. So half double crochet and then a double crochet in the same stitch. Next, we are going to do a treble crochet 2 together. And how we're going to do that is we are going to yarn over twice. We're going to put the first leg of our treble crochet 2 together into the stitch we just worked that half double crochet and double crochet into. So insert your hook into that stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 2. Then we'll do the second leg of the treble crochet 2 together. So yarn over twice, insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Should be 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3 to complete the treble crochet 2 together. Next, we are going to place a double crochet and a half double crochet into that same stitch of the second leg of our treble crochet 2 together. So we'll double crochet, and then half double crochet in that same stitch. And we've now created the point of our strawberry. Next, we will put 2 half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet next, 5 double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the last, and then we will join to the first double crochet we made with a slip stitch to finish off the round. You should have 23 stitches at the end of this round, and you can see that our strawberry shape is starting to emerge. Round 3, we're going to chain 1 to begin. We'll single crochet the first 3 stitches. Then we will do two single crochet, or so an increase in each of the next 3. So 2 single crochet, 2 single crochet in the next, and 2 single crochet in the next. And then we will single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Now in the next, we are going to work a single crochet, treble crochet, double crochet, single crochet, all in the same stitch. So single crochet, treble crochet, double crochet, and single crochet, all in that one stitch. Next, we will single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 6. And then again, we will place 2 single crochet in each of the next 3. So an increase in the next 3 stitches. 2 in that one, and then 2 in this one. And then single crochet in the last 2 stitches. Then you'll finish off the round by joining with a slip stitch to your first stitch. At the end of round 3, you should have 32 stitches. And you can see we have even more of a strawberry. Now we can start round 4, and round 4 is where we are going to switch to our main colors. So we are done with our strawberry color. Go ahead and grab the main color that you want to use, and we will attach that on. How I like to switch to my next color is to actually back up and take that join out, and then use my next color to finish off that join. So I'll insert my hook into the stitch we're joining to, we'll switch to my next color, and I will pull it through to move us on to that next round. Then we can begin working with this. Now all stitches for this round are going to be worked into the back loop only. So to begin, we'll chain 1, and then we are going to work 6 single crochet, okay? We're going to work those into the back loop. So we have the V of our stitch. This is our front loop, the one closest to us, and this is our back loop, the one behind. We are going to work into this one only, 6 single crochet. So we have our first stitch into that back loop only. So you can see this front loop is left alone. So next we have front loop, back loop. We're going to go into the back loop only, place a single crochet. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you'll see that it just keeps those front loops there and is going to help define our strawberry. All right, next we are going to begin to create the corners for the rest of our square. So in the next stitch, we are going to work a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. And that's going to be our first corner. Then we will place a half double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. And remember to stay in that back loop. Next, we will put a double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Now we will create our next corner, and we're going to do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next, all in the same stitch in the next one. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then we are going to half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. Okay. Double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then we are going to create our next corner. So we are going to place a double crochet, treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet. So double crochet, treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, all in that same stitch, and that's our third corner created. We're going to put 2 double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, double crochet in the next, and then we'll create our last corner by doing 3 double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next stitch. So all in the same stitch, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. That's our 4th corner created. Next, we'll double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in that last stitch, and then we are going to join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and that starts creating the square around our strawberry. Now for round 5, we will chain 2. We're going to double crochet each of the next 7 stitches. And that should put you right up against that first corner. So you should be at the chain 1 that's in the corner. And again, if you're having a hard time keeping track of those chain 1s for your corners, then you could always place a stitch marker. So in the corner, we are going to do a 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, all in that chain 1 space. And then we're going to start a repeat, and our repeat will be double crochet 10, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the corner space. And you're going to make that repeat 3 times. Right, and now I've made that repeat 3 times. And to finish off the round, we will place 3 double crochet, the 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. And then we are going to join with a slip stitch to the first double crochet we made. And you can see that that square is starting to square off. It's got a little bit of a different size. You can see this here, but that's why it's so important to block for this bag, to block your squares, especially the strawberry squares, so that you can get all those stitches stretched out and nice and even. Round 6, we are going to begin with a chain 2, and then we will double crochet into each of the next 9 stitches, so 9 stitches across. Should take you right up to that first corner. And once we are at that first corner, we are going to start our repeat for this round. So we'll do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the corner space, and then we will double crochet 14 across, and we'll make that repeat 3 times around. Once you've made that repeat 3 times, you should be at the chain 1 space for the last corner. So we'll do double crochet 2, chain 1, double crochet 2, and then to finish off the round, we'll put a double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. And then we will join with a slip stitch to the first double crochet of the round. And that is our last round for the strawberry square. You should have 76 stitches. Now you can fasten off your colors, both of them, and set this aside. And then you need to make 3 more of these for a total of 4. You can go back to the timestamp here to be walked through it. Once you have all of your squares made, you should have 8 total, 4 of your solid squares and 4 of your strawberry squares. You're going to want to weave in the ends and get them ready for blocking. Now, depending on the type of material that you used to make your squares is going to change how you might block these. I used acrylic for mine, 100% acrylic. So to block mine, I'm going to pin them and then I'm going to heat them with a hair dryer. That is my preferred way of blocking acrylic. It's definitely not the way you have to do it if you have a different way of blocking you would like to use. So that's it blocked to the 5.5 by 5.5 inches. It will help to just relax all those stitches and get the square very even. So now what I'm going to do, because again, I'm working with acrylic, is I'm going to take this and I'm going to heat the square up with a hairdryer. I will just hold the hairdryer over it for like 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less if it's just a small piece like this and you don't have to move away from any area for too long. So like maybe 3 minutes, just until it's heated up, especially if I can touch and feel that the whole thing is heated up. Do not touch the yarn with the hairdryer. I get it close, but I do not touch it because the hairdryer can melt the acrylic yarn. So I'll heat it up and then I will let it cool completely and then I'm done and I'm ready to move on. So once you have all of your squares blocked, we can move on to embroidering our strawberries. All right, and once you have those all blocked, you'll see that these are much more square and flat than they were before. I've got them all blocked. Now we can move on to decorating these squares before we go ahead and put them together. So let's start with decorating our strawberry squares. You are going to want a seed color, the little seeds, and a stem and leaf color. So usually like a green and a white, but you can really use whatever you want. We will start with our stem and leaves color. You're going to want to grab your tapestry needle for this and a pair of scissors because we'll just be cutting lengths of the yarn to embroider with. All right, so cut a length of yarn and put that on your tapestry needle. Now we are going to work our embroidery onto the front of our square. The front is the side that has these loops showing on it. So we are going to start by bringing our yarn back to front, so back of your square to the front, and you want to go through the center of the top. So this is the top of our strawberry. So we're going to bring from back to front our yarn through like that. And then we are going to go through the fabric about 3/4 inches below to create a short line. So we're just going to drop down into the fabric a little bit, about almost an inch, but not quite, down below and pull through, and that will create this one line. So now we are going to thicken this up a little bit by just simply going back to front through that same first spot. So that same exact spot, we're making the same exact move. So come up through that middle spot and then down through that same spot about 3/4 an inch below, just to make that line a little thicker. Just make it a double line like that. And that's our first leaf. So now we're going to come back up through that middle from back to front. And then we are going to create our next leaf. So we're simply going to pick a spot about an inch, make it a little bit longer than this one, but have it going over slightly, not right at the top of the strawberry, but in between this one and the top of the strawberry, about an inch over, about an inch long in this direction. So we see we'll have that line. And then again, we're going to double that line up by making the same exact move. Come up through that center spot at the top of the strawberry, and then down through that same spot we just did to double that line up, make the leaf thicker. So now we have 2 leaves. All right, and then next, we're again back to front through that middle section. And then we are going to go about the same length as our second leaf, but at the top of the strawberry. So we'll just go right at the top of that strawberry like that, about the same length. And then again, thicken that up by going through the middle, and then one more time down through that same spot. So we have double lines. All right. And there are my first 3 leaves. And now what we're going to do is we're going to mirror on the other side of your strawberry these 2 leaves. So we'll have 5. So again, up through the middle, back to front. And then we're going to create a mirror to this second leaf over here. So we'll just go down into the strawberry on the opposite side. And like with these, really, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to match exactly, because that's not even realistic, right? Like strawberries are going to have leaves that are all slightly different. We're just kind of creating the similar one. So there I have the double line. I've come back up through the middle, and now I'll mirror this top leaf. So again, we'll go down along the top of the strawberry, and then we'll come back to front one more time and double that line up. And there we go. Now we have our strawberry leaves. And now the last thing to do to finish off the top of our strawberry with our green color is back to front through that middle one more time. We're always going through the same spot. And we are just going to create our stem by coming up through that middle spot and then just going about a 1/2 inch up, straight up, and then back down. And we now have a stem on our strawberry. So there is our cute little strawberry leaf and stem. All right, so the next thing we're going to embroider on our strawberry, which honestly you could leave it like this if you wanted to. But I also like to add seeds. I use white for my seeds. I like the high contrast. I think it would look probably fine if you used black seeds or cream colored seeds or really anything you want. So we want another like length of yarn, maybe 30 inches long. Put that onto our tapestry needle. Then we're going to start doing our seeds. Seeds are pretty random. There's pretty much no right or wrong place to put them. I like to make the length of my seeds about 1/4 inch, so fairly small. So I will just pick a spot to come up through. I do kind of like to be in the middle of a stitch because it just holds, if you're in these like these larger holes of stitches, I don't feel like it holds the seeds in place as well. So I'll come up through, and then I'll just want a short little line. So I'll just drop down about a 1/4 inch and put it through. And there's a seed line. That's all. Really, really easy. And so you'll just do these randomly throughout. I generally place about 8 to 10 lines or seeds around the front of my strawberry. So you're just going to want to repeat that on your other 3 squares and make them all have the details on it. It really brings the strawberry to life, I think, and it's really not that difficult to do. And it just gives it so much character. I love the way they look once they've got all their details in it. So you can go back to this timestamp, which is the beginning of embroidering the strawberry, and it will walk you through it again. So for our bows, you'll just want to pick whatever color. I like to use contrast color. I'm going to use white for my bows on this project. The bows are simple, very, very simple. You'll need your H hook again. So what we're going to do for the bow is we are going to chain 53. All right, and once you have that chain of 53, our bow is really simple. It is 1 row. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then simply add a slip stitch to each chain across. So we're just going into that chain and doing a slip stitch all the way across. And I do suggest with this that you work into the back bump of your chain when you're making those slip stitches, just because it makes it look very nice. I'm going to show you on this green yarn because you won't be able to see if I show you on my white yarn that I'm using for my bows. So we have on this side the V's of our stitches, and then if you flip your chain over, you see you have these little bumps on the back that go down the middle of those V's. That's where you want to put your slip stitches. So you go into those back bumps and slip stitch. And that is going to just make this, especially because the bow, this is all the bow is this 1 row of slip stitches. So this is going to make it very, very neat looking to use these back bumps instead of just going into one or the other loop. You'll see that my chain pretty much has stitches on this side and stitches on this side. It's a very clean look, and it'll make your bow look very neat and cute. And once you've made your slip stitches all the way across, you should have 52 stitches, and that is all we do to make the bow. So you can fasten off and go ahead and weave in the ends back into the bow, and then I will show you how to tie it into a bow and then where to sew it on to your solid square. You could tie your bow pretty much any way that you want to tie a bow. How I tie my bows is that I fold them in half, and then I bring the edges down so that I've got equal parts, makes like this M shape. And then I cross them, and then I put one down into the loop down here and pull it through, and then I pull it tight. And then I start to do some adjusting. So I will, you see I've got the tails down and the loops up, because that's where I want everything positioned. And then I start to pull tighter. So I'll pull it tighter by pulling on the loops, and then I will pull it back down, keeping everything where it is. Now my middle's a little bit better, and then I will pull tightly again. And I pretty much keep doing that back and forth. And then once that middle is tight enough, I can decide how I want the bow. I kind of prefer my tails longer than my loop. I want them to be longer. So I'll go for this kind of shape with my bows. And now that I have my bow, I'm going to sew it into place on my solid square. So I will get a length of yarn that's in the same color as my bow. We're not going to sew every single part of the bow down. We want it to be 3D. We want it to sit off of the square, not be like sewn straight down into it. So what I do is I pretty much put the middle of my bow along where the first and second rounds meet, a little bit up. So the first round will be pretty much beneath it. Like then with my color, I will just go right through. I'll go right up next to the actual center point and then back down just above that. And then I will repeat on the other side. So I'll go up just to the left of it. And come through and then go down just a little bit above, almost like through the bottom half of the loop and then back through the top half of the loop is a good way to do it. And that just holds that bow in place, but these are still free moving. I'll go right up next to the actual center point and then back down just above that. I also like to tack down my tails in place just right in the center of my tail. So I'll kind of adjust it so that's where I want my tails and I'll hold it in place. And then I will just come through up through the fabric and through the tail like that. And I'll just go back down just in the center of that tail just to tack it in place so the tail stays down and it can't do this kind of stuff, right? But it stays down, but it still looks free-flowing. It's still going to get some curlies and have some shape and character to it. So I'll repeat that on the other side. And just simply tack it down like that. And then my bow is in place. All right, and now I have all of my squares ready to go, and we can begin putting these together. I'm going to show you the way that I like to join my squares. This is, of course, something that if you have a favorite way of joining your squares that you would prefer to use, I think that'd be fine to use. I don't think it will actually affect the pattern all that much. I'm going to start with my two bottom squares. So I will be arranging mine like this. So I will start with the bottom two. So you'll need a length of yarn in whatever color you want to use for the stitching on your bag, and you'll want your tapestry needle. We are going to start with the strawberry square or your right hand square. We will go from front to back in the bottom left corner stitch of this square. So we'll find that corner stitch and we're going to go through the back loop. So I'm considering these the back loop on the back side because this is our right side. It's on the wrong side. So find that corner stitch and go through just the back loop front to back and pull your yarn through. And then we are going to go front to back again. This is going to kind of loop around to start us off through the back loop of the next stitch, remembering that we are only working through back loops as we do this join. And then pull that tightly. All right, and now this is where we will bring in the next square. So now we will go take our left-hand square or a bow square, if you're doing the same pattern as me, and we are going to go back to front through the corner stitch. And if you need to, it can be helpful when you are doing this join, especially when you get up here and you're going to be joining the next set of squares on, to mark those corners if you need to. So go through that corner stitch, the chain, back to front, and now our squares are together and we can start the pattern we're going to use. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go front to back through the next stitch on your bow square, and then back to front through the same stitch that you went through on that. So you're kind of going at a diagonal the best way I can describe it. So we're going up a stitch on this left hand bow square, and then back into the same stitch we just worked into on the strawberry square. And we're going to pull our yarn through. And I'm going to pull this tightly and get it lined up. All right, and we can see that we've got our first little stitch showing on that one. So that is going to kind of be what we do from here on out now that we've gotten started. So now we're on the strawberry square. So we'll go up a stitch on the strawberry square or the right hand square, front to back, and then down diagonally, back to front, through the same stitch we used last on the solid square. And we'll pull through and tighten that up. And one thing I will say about this is that to get that stitch look, you don't want to pull too tightly when you join these. You don't want to be like pulling it so tightly that the stitch that's showing on the surface gets really small and tiny and goes away. Okay, so now we're on the left hand side or the bow square, up a stitch, front to back, down through the last stitch we used, back to front. So see how you're kind of going at a diagonal for that? And then we'll pull it tightly. All right, one more time. We're on the strawberry square, we're on the right hand square side. So up a stitch, front to back, down, back to front, through the stitch we just went through on the left hand square or the bow square, and pull it through. Okay, now we're on the left hand square. We're going to go up a stitch, front to back, down, back to front, through the stitch we just used on the strawberry square. So is that making sense? I hope that's making sense, the pattern we're using to do this. So again, we're on the strawberry side now. So up a square, front to back to front in the previous, or up a square, up a stitch. And you just keep going in that pattern all the way along. And you can see that those stitches are starting to show up. So let's continue to do that until we get up to the top, and then I will show you how to join on the next set of squares. So now once I have made it all the way to the top, I've gone through the corner stitch of my right hand square. I'm going to just go through the corner stitch front to back of my left hand square and pull through. And then this is where I'm going to add my next square. So we'll start by adding the right hand. So grab whatever one you're going to be putting on the right, and then you're going to go back to front through the corner stitch of your new square and pull that tightly so that they're on there. And then grab your next left square and you will go up a stitch on the right hand side, front to back, and then back to front through that corner stitch of your new left hand square. And then once you've gone up through that corner, you can begin the pattern again. So go up a stitch and then back, front to back, and then back to front, down into the stitch you just used on the opposite square. Now we're on the right hand square, so front to back in the next stitch, back to front in the stitch we used before on the other square. All right, and we are just going to continue that again up the square, and then we'll come back and we will go horizontally across them to join this direction. I've now made it all the way up to the corner stitches of the last two. I just stop once I go through the corner stitch, once I go through both corner stitches. So I actually went through this corner stitch and then through that one to finish off instead of going down. Either way really works, but once you get to the top, you just stop. We're going to be adding stitches all the way around, so if this isn't like perfect, it's going to be fine. All right, and so now all we need to do to finish this first panel of the tote bag is do the same thing across this way. So I'll go ahead and turn my work around so that I'm this direction, and I will get a length of yarn So once I have my yarn ready to go, front to back into the corner of the right hand side, and then up the next stitch, front to back in the next stitch, and then back to front through the corner stitch on the other square to start us off. All right, and then now we will continue to follow our same pattern of going up a stitch, front to back, and then back to front to the stitch we just used on the opposite square. Now, once I get to this corner here where I've got all 4 squares, I do like to try to do maybe a little bit of just intuitively going where I need to go and not worrying so much about getting the stitch look so that I can really straighten out these corners. So I do kind of like to do a little bit of connecting the matching corners to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and go up a stitch where I'm at, but instead of going down into this stitch, I'm going to go across into the matching square. And I am just going to pull those tightly into each other like that. And then I might even go ahead and go into that pink, down into the pink stitch, and then up into the opposite. So right now I'm connecting the pink squares to get myself into this next set of squares. And if I just pull that tightly, I feel like that lines those up better. And now I'm up on these other squares and I can start to do the pattern again. I can now continue just to go on. So if you get there and you want to do a little bit of tightening those together a little bit better, that's when you want to do it, is when you come across the horizontally. And there is our first panel all finished. And again, I'm going to block this again and just relax these seams because I just think it makes it look better. So now you want to do the exact same thing with your other 4 squares. All right, and now I have done both of my panels. So I have a front panel and a back panel. So the next step of the pattern is to assemble our purse. So you will take both of your panels and we're going to put them wrong sides together. So this is your wrong side. So I'll have that panel's wrong side and we will put the other panel's wrong side on top of it. And then you are going to want to get whatever color you want to use for the edge. And then you'll want your H hook. So this is going to be the top of your bag. We're going to rotate and we are going to start in what would be the left-hand corner. We are going to work into both layers. So we will go through and we are going to go through just one loop on each layer. So on our front layer, we are going to go through the back loop. And on our back layer, we are going to go through the front loop. So here's our V of our stitch. You're going to go through only the front loop on that. And we're going to start in the corner stitch of each bag. So we've got both layers, gone through both layers. So now we can attach our yarn. Bring our yarn through both of those layers. And now we can start to work our way down. For our edge on this bag, we are going to be working chain 1 slip stitch all the way around our bag. So we'll chain 1 and then we'll go into and then we will slip stitch into the next. And again, we are going to go through the back loop of the front panel and the front loop of the back panel and slip stitch. So chain 1 and now back loop of that first panel, front loop of the back panel, slip stitch. So just like that, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, back loop, front loop, slip stitch, chain 1, back loop, front loop, slip stitch. And you can see it's just creating this cute little ridged look and joining our two squares together. Now, when you get to a corner, you do not have to do anything special. Just continue to work that chain one slip stitch. The chain ones generally will give you enough slack for you to make it around that corner and not cause any issues. And you can see it goes around that corner just fine, no issues. Looks awesome. So keep going around until you get to the right hand corner. So once you've made it all the way around your bag to this corner. All right, and now I am at that right hand corner. So I'm going to work my last couple slip stitches until I'm in that corner stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split the fabric and work around the opening of our bag. So we'll chain one, and just starting on this front panel that's facing you, you will just single crochet in each stitch around. So I've got, this is the stitch that I've joined into already. So I'm going to start right there in that first stitch with a single crochet. And so see, I am no longer going through both. I'm only working into the stitches on this front panel. And we're just doing simple single crochet all the way around. And I've worked it all the way across my front panel. Once you get to the end of your front panel, you're just going to keep going around. So you're just going to go ahead and go into the first stitch of that back panel. So, and then just start working your way with single crochets across the back panel now. All right, and once you've made it all the way back around to where you started, go ahead and finish off by joining with a slip stitch to your first stitch. And you can fasten off your yarn. All right, and there's our bag all put together in our first row of our top detail. Now to finish this off, this is slightly decorative, but it also serves a purpose. I like to do this in a contrast color because I think it looks nice, but also this is just to help the top of your bag not stretch out as much. So I'm just going to go through one of my stitches. I like to go just a little bit over from where I seamed or joined, and I'm going to attach a contrasting color to that row I just made. And then I'm just going to slip stitch in each stitch around. And just be sure as you're working the slip stitch around that you're not going too tightly. You don't want them to be super loose, but you also don't want it to be too tight or it's going to make your bag buckle in at the top. Now when you get back around, I'll show you real quick how you can make this an invisible join so there's not a break. So when you have worked all into every stitch around, and you'll see you have like this space between, but fasten off right there, cut your yarn and pull it through right there so that you'll still have that gap. And then take your needle and put your end through it. And then what you're going to do to finish this off so it looks nice and neat is you're actually just going to put your needle through both of those stitches and pull it. And then you'll go down into the middle of the last stitch you made in between the loops and pull that through. And then you can see it just makes a stitch that's uniform and it just goes around with no break. It looks very nice and neat. And now you can weave in these ends and we will move on to making our straps. We are almost done with our tote bag. All right, grab one of your colors from your bag that you want to use for your straps. I am going to use this blue color. The straps are really, really easy to make and you'll want two of them. We will start with a slip stitch. So for the strap, we are going to start by chaining 7. Next will be a row 1, and we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then each chain across. And you should have a total of 6 single crochet for row 1. Okay, in row 2, we'll chain 1, we'll turn, and then we are just going to single crochet again in each stitch across. And that should give you a total of 6 again. And that is what we are going to do the entire strap. It is just going to be chain 1, turn, single crochet, 6 across. Every single row, we are just making a very long, thin rectangle. Now I have it into the pattern that you're going to do this for 112 rows. But basically you want it to be a strap that measures at least 24 inches long. And you can easily adjust that if you want it to be longer or shorter by just adding or removing rows. Like I said, this is just a rectangle of single crochet rows. So you'll just continue on, chain 1, single crochet 6 across until you have 112 rows or 24 inches or your desired length. All right, and now I have 2 straps. The straps are really easy to connect to your tote bag. You're simply going to take it and make sure it's not twisted, that they're going the same way. And you're just going to sew them onto the inside about an inch. I put about an inch of the straps, about this much, into the bag, and I sew them in about an inch from the outer edge. So an inch down on the strap and an inch in from the outer edge, about. So you'll be not quite in the center of your square. You'll be just slightly over. And it will look like that. And then I tend to go ahead and grab the color of the square to sew it in. All right, and there's one, and you can see because I used that color that matches, you can't see it. So then I have pink to sew on the other side in the same place. And then once you've done that side, you'll just flip it over and do the same exact thing on the other panel, and then weave in your ends, and you have a finished tote bag. So that is how you create the Bow So Sweet Tote bag. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, or that it was helpful in clarifying any issues you might have found when you were working through the written version of the pattern. Thanks for making a Bow So Sweet Tote with me. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I would love to hear what colors you decided to use for your bag down in the comments. And if you ever want to share a picture with me, you can always tag me on Instagram at woodland.stitchcraft. You can find this written pattern on my woodlandstitchcraft.com blog, and you can always purchase an ad-free PDF on Etsy, Ravelry, Lovecrafts, and Ko-fi. Thanks for making with me. I'll see you next time.